Welcome back to another episode of No One Is Coming, the Answer Is You. In today's episode, I want to talk about showing up for life. And this episode is being shot and recorded in an off day for me. But I told myself I'm going to record a podcast today, and I am. Like I feel, which is kind of crappy, but I decided what better way than to show up and talk about showing up. So, with that being said, let's explore what showing up really is all about. Let's dive in. In a world where we often find ourselves waiting for someone to come and save us, it's time to embrace one powerful truth. I hate to tell you this, but no one is coming. The answer is you. Welcome to the podcast that empowers you to take charge of your life and unleash your true potential. I'm your host, Ofri Fuchs, and I'm thrilled to embark on this transformative journey with you. So, if you're ready to embark on a journey full of self-discovery, growth, and actually take responsibility for your life, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you're here. Now let's rock and roll. So hello, and welcome back to No One Is Coming, the Answer Is You. And if you don't know who I am, then welcome. My name is Ofri Fuchs. I'm your host. I am a transformational life coach, and I help people recreate their stories and show up powerfully with their full, powerful presence. And today I want to talk about showing up, because we're talking about powerful presence, and in order to have powerful presence, you need to wake up and show up. And the reason I decided to create this episode today is because I've been struggling in the past few days. It's been hard. Getting up, showing up, creating, putting the smile on. Sometimes it feels like pretending, and but part of life is showing up for life. Like, you have a job, you have to wake up and show up for work. You can't just excuse yourself by feeling crappy, even though sometimes you want to, and you just want to kind of pull back the covers and say, not today, I'm calling in sick, which is fine. It's good. It needs to happen. But if we're talking about powerful presence, it's anything that's powerful creates strength, or requires strength, and requires stamina. And that is a muscle that we work on, that we incorporate in our daily life. And the thing about showing up is that oftentimes we have this tendency to wait for somebody else to fix our situation. So if I'm waking up in a bad mood, then something inside me, I'm so tired, I'm so exhausted, I'm so depressed, something inside me yearns for somebody else to fix this. Because when we're in low frequency state, then we're in too much of a low frequency to actually find the strength within us to help ourselves climb out of bed. So we have to pay attention to the fact that I'm actually in a crappy day, in a crappy mood, and there's a hidden desire, crave for somebody else to come and save me. So this goes back to the title of the podcast, No One Is Coming, the Answer Is You. We have the option of doing one of two things. Well, actually one of three things, let's say. The first one is nothing, which is fine. We can allow ourselves to be in a vulnerable state and just let ourselves be blah for an hour, a day, a week, however long we feel that we need to. Sometimes that's where the magic happens. We can be tender, we can forgive ourselves for judging ourselves, for all the negative thoughts that come up, and just say, this too shall pass. I'm waiting for this wave to pass. And I'm just going to climb out of bed once I get the energy, once I get the inspiration. And this does pass. We've all been there. It does pass. So the first option is just to wait it out. Second option is to reach out for a friend, a colleague, your partner, and say, you know what? This is how I'm feeling. This is what's going on. I need you to pull me up. It's not your responsibility. I'm not counting on you, but let's go out for coffee. I'm initiating this, but I need your help. I need you to hold my hand. I'm reaching out, so I'm trying to help myself climb out of that hole. And the third option is just to realize, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my blank together and I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to show up for life today. So we have to kind of separate the three aspects of it. The first one is the illusion of rescue, because like I started to mention, we live in a world where we're conditioned to believe that there's something out there that can help me feel better. Once I get that relationship, once I get that job, once I land that contract, once I get the promotion, it's got to be something outside, whether it's a mentor or my shrink, that something inside or something, external, something outside of me will have that moment, will create that moment where I'm pushed out of bed, where I'm pushed into my happy place. But the truth is, life doesn't work that way. It's not about somebody else creating that experience for you. It's about us creating that experience for us. We're not passive in our lives, even though we have a tendency to think, this just happened to me. I just got that phone call. He just called me out on a date. They just offered me. It wasn't my doing. No. You have not only the credibility, and you can and should acknowledge yourself for all that you've created and the seeds that you've planted to get you into the position, but you need to be accountable for the fact that if you're in bed, you either lost track of your thoughts and you just got into a funk, you got into a spiral state where you sunk low, and you can create that differently, or just understand that it's whether or not you want it to be, this is your fault. It's not a fault, it's an accountability. So showing up is transformative because you're taking the wheels in your own hand. So you can decide, I'm not showing up for work today, work mean life, or I am showing up for work today. And this is a commitment. This is a commitment to oneself. And I don't want it to sound like, because I'm again, like I said in the beginning, I'm recording this when I'm in a funk. This is me in a funk. You should have seen me like 10 minutes ago. But so I don't want to make it sound like, okay, it's a go, go, go state of mind. I'm going to force myself into a happy place. I'm going to force myself but I am pushing myself out the door for a walk, to talk to people, to reach out. It's the baby steps that can make the difference, and they add up, they accumulate, and then things turn out for the better. They really, really do. But let's talk about, what does it mean to show up? I keep saying, show up for life, show up for work. I guess showing up is about being present. So, like I said, if you're in a funk, if you're in a slow pace, if you're in a state of fear or discomfort, it's just understanding, like, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go. So there's a sense of focus of, if I'm in the driver's seat, where do I want to take this car? Where do I want to take this vehicle? So today I've noticed a few instances that I've had, a few interactions that I've had, where I got teary-eyed, where I got really angry, where I even got like physically dizzy at some point, because I felt like I'm overwhelmed, I'm exhausted. There were a lot of things going on in my life for the past few days that are kind of taking a toll on me. This is where I'm at. Like, there's no right or wrong. It's not like I shouldn't be here. This is part of life's journey. I'm going to have these days. I'm going to have these moments. So I'm just going to be compassionate with myself. I'm going to forgive myself. And I'm going to be physically and emotionally and mentally present to this is what's going on. So if I decide to bring my whole self, my authentic self into this experience, I'm going to observe it. I'm going to say, wow, did I give myself the permission to feel that sadness that came up? Did I give myself permission to feel the rage? And I was enraged today. And I did. I did in a way. I was stepping back from hurting other people. And I was like, I'm just going to be present with myself, whether it's listening to a meditation, just looking outside the window, listening to the birds, taking a walk. This is showing up. It's not rah rah. It doesn't have to be forceful, but it's also not making excuses. It's not completely shutting the world off. So we're not waiting to have to be perfect. We're not waiting to have perfectness. It's embracing the external circumstances that affect our internal circumstances and situations, and understanding where we're at. I'll give you another example. I sent a friend of mine something to give it a feedback on, and she came back with, I actually didn't love it. And it was via text. It was via a message. And I shut it off because I was like, I'm in no position to get any criticism or any feedback. It's just where I'm at. I'm not going to hold her. I'm not going to have her. I'm not going to judge her for not being. And I also didn't want to reach out and say, you know what, I'm in a bad state. Can you not give me your feedback? I wanted to hear the feedback, but I wanted to address it later when I'm in a better place. So I can see where I'm at, and I can see what's external that's bringing itself forward to my life, and I can decide, and this is showing up, whether or not I want this to come in right now. There's no judgment there. It's just like, this is what it is. So I don't always have to take action. I can just be imperfect and messy and down and under, and just understand, okay, what would be my next step forward? What would be the next thing that I can do right now? And for me, the next step to do was to record this podcast as is, messy, dirty, and imperfect. And I don't even know if I'm going to edit this one. So that's just an example, because one key element of showing up is consistency. So I've decided I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And I've had conversation. I had a meeting today. I showed up. I didn't cancel, even though I was in a funky mood. I'm going to show up against my instinct to pull back and feel sorry for myself. And the consistency is the driving force for growth and for transformation, because I want to give life, I want to hold the banner for, I'm here, I'm showing up, even in the harder days. So it's the small daily actions that we take that are going to push us forward, even in the harder times, even when there's a storm outside. Just keep pushing forward. And it's not going to always be easy. It's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be without challenges. And when there's fears, there's tears, there's difficulties, there's frustration, there's anger, there's resentment, and there's a lot of vulnerability. Because when you're in rage, you might feel like you're pushing forward with full force, but you're actually really, really vulnerable and hurt and low and sensitive, and your nervous system is all like, please, somebody hold me. But even if I'm holding this space for myself and I choose to show up despite the discomfort, despite the conflict, despite all these negative emotions, that's how I build resilience. That's where I prove to myself, I've done this before. I was in a slump. I was in a bad state. I was in a funky mood. I can trust myself to show up. So this is me talking to me saying, you've done this before. You got this. Keep going. I'm behind you. I'm rooting for you. I love you. I believe in you. I trust in you. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You are stronger than you believe. You are stronger than you think. Keep going. So every time we show up, every time we get out of bed, every time we push ourselves, every time we say I'm sorry, every time we put a smile on when we don't feel like it, every time we dust ourselves off, we're reinforcing our belief that we got this, that we're capable, that we're stronger than we believe, that we there's nothing that can stop us, nothing. Even the funky slow days, even the failures, even the discomfort. So if you're facing a situation where you feel you might fail, you're afraid you might fail, you're afraid you might be rejected, show up powerfully, accept it, saying, bring it on, because it's part of life. You can handle it. You can fall down. You can dust yourself off. You can hold yourself and bring yourself and show up for yourself. And those are your best teachers. Those are the ones that are going to make you stronger. The perfect moment is the imperfect moment, because there is no perfect moment. So you got to have the whole picture. You got to have the black and white in the picture. Otherwise, it's too bright. And if it's black, it's too dark. So you got to have all the colors. And so showing up, that's the act of courage, because it's showing up despite the vulnerability, despite the fear, despite the rage, despite the discomfort, despite the challenges. It's saying, I'm willing to try, even if I don't have all the answers. So how do we show up? Like I said, one, like always, is just acknowledging, understanding. What am I avoiding? What am I trying to duck from? What am I trying not to show up? What am I waiting for? Who am I waiting for to save me? Just be aware of that. Be conscious of that. Bring that forward. And then let's set the intention. All right. For me, it was, I just want to cheer myself up. What would help me right now? Two things. A, kids out of the house. That helped. B, recording this podcast, because that puts me in a mood of service. And service for me is what lifts me up. So knowing who you are, set the intention, not the expectation. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just decide, I'm going to go work out. I'm going to go for a walk. I don't need immediate result. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to send that email. Who knows what's going to happen? Be ready to be inspired. Practice your presence. Whether you're feeling crappy, whether you're feeling low, or whether it is that you want to push yourself, wherever you are, in a conversation, at work, with friends, practice being fully present, listening deeply, listening from your heart, not listening to your chattering mind, and be there in order so you can handle all those challenges that you're facing and be open to change, because the world is bringing you opportunities to change and pull yourself up. And celebrate the wins. For me, this podcast is a win. I am pulling myself out. And it doesn't mean that once I turn this camera off or this recorder off, it doesn't mean that I won't be like in a low state. I might have a couple of low days. I might need to, relax and be more gentle with myself, forgive myself even more, talk to myself even more. Maybe there's a brilliant exploration that I'll reveal once these few days are over. Something better will come up on the other end. I know this to be true, but it won't happen if I don't show up. So in closing, I think the bottom line that I'm trying to give you, and I hope this made sense to you, is life is not, Tony Robbins always said, life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. But I think life is something that we create. Not only is it happening for us, but we create it to happen for us. No one's going to come to create your dreams. No one is going to come to give you that good word if you're not open to hear it. Nobody's going to come to give you that brilliant idea. Nobody's going to save you. So we have to choose ourselves every single day. We have to show up, be brave, be courageous, fight the battle, be compassionate, be forgiving to ourselves and others, and not wait for anyone's permission to show up fully. Start owning your journey. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, being present, and going full force on the ride. So I want to remind you that I love you. I'm here for you. I'm rooting for you. No one is coming. The answer is you. You are the answer, the force, the groundbreaking being that you've always waited to be. It's already in you. I love you. Thank you. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.